Dolores introduced me already. I'm the head of the Cooperations and Partnership Department at the HWAM. This also includes the career service for students, and so originally kind of, it's always a bridge between business, company, and our students. I would like to introduce myself briefly. After training as a bank clerk and studying business Spanish, I completed my doctorate in the field of intercultural communication on German-Cuban communication in university corporations. So this was the field of my studies. Now I've been working at the interface between business and science for 14 years, and places of employment included the KIT, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, with an exciting project to support especially women from the natural and engineering sciences on their way to becoming managers or to start their career. There I began to gain my first experience with third-party funders from the business world, and I've been passionate about building networks between companies, foundations, and universities ever since. A next step was the University of Mannheim, which is highly recognized worldwide for its business administration programs. There I set up the scholarship system in close cooperation with the Rectorate, Presidium. Among other things, I was responsible for introducing the Deutschlandstipendium program, which was launched by the German government in 2011 to support more student talent nationwide. Here, the government doubles donations from private donors, from individuals, companies, foundations, and scholarship holders. Receive 300 euros a month on funding, which is additional to what they normally earn. This is now quite an established funding instrument in Germany and a real scholarship brand. And then in 2015, I came to this University of Applied Sciences, the HWAM. An important driving force and motivation is to create synergies and to develop new network ideas and to help people to get together. That's really kind of a motor inside of me, to get people together, to bridge them. As a result, over the years, I have succeeded in developing a colorful bouquet, I would say, of possibilities for companies to get involved at the university. But I will come back to this in the course of the presentation. The two logos on the bottom right stand for two prizes that we've received as a university for our successfully implemented refugee integration project from the Stifterverband, Institution for Foundations, and the Mannheim Business Foundation in 2017. For today's topic, it seems important to me to briefly summarize why we as a university need companies as cooperation partners. On the one hand, it is important for us to be in dialogue and exchange with practice, because we train for the market and need to know what skills and competencies are needed outside the business world. On the other hand, it is important for our students to work on current cases from practice, so-called case studies. These topics can then also be explored in greater depth in final thesis and research projects. The whole area of career service would not be possible without sub-frame cooperation, actually. And these collaborations are also a pillar of funding for us as a private university. We cooperate with partners from industry via modules that can be put together as they prefer. And the basic module costs about 200 euros per month. It's our pricing scheme. Here you can see a photo taken shortly after the award of the Mannheim Business Foundation in 2017. We had succeeded here in building valuable bridges between companies, refugees who studied with us, and Mannheim institutions such as the Goethe Institute or the German Institute or the Institute for German Language. And that's what it's all about, building synergies and bridges. And that's how I see the task of colleagues and of companies and universities as well. Here's another success that ties in with this very mission of building bridges. This is an award for institutions that sustainably help socially disadvantaged people, especially refugees. In 2018, we were awarded the EUROPA, that's the name of the prize, and you can see Dolores during the celebration part, Now I would like to illustrate with a few examples which contact points we use to get in touch with companies. A very typical form is inviting companies' representatives to give guest lectures at our universities. This is a profitable situation for both sides. Here, subject representatives who carry out operational activities can speak well on topics related to teaching. Strategic dialogues, the second point, are more about inviting well-known executives, such as Zoe Dubourg from the BASF Board of Executive Directors here, to speak on strategic management topics. We then usually invite other company representatives as guests in addition to students and professors. Case studies, real-life projects, and theses that are written jointly with the companies serve, as mentioned earlier, to give the degree program a practical orientation. Then in the second block, I come to the events for companies on campus. We have now implemented the HWM Meets format online, for example, with Michelin a month ago. We have between 20 and 30 participants for this each time. It's about presenting the company and placing open positions or current topics of this company to the students. And we are particularly proud of our networking and recruiting day and the online format cross networking day, a virtual bar camp, which emerged from it. The focus of both formats is, on the one hand, to exchange information on current specialists, but also to be able to explore career opportunities for our students. And the third block concerns the promotion of students, which takes place via companies. On the one hand, of course, student initiatives can always be supported, but also individual students through our scholarship system or programs such as the Deutschlandstipendium, as mentioned before, this 300 euros per month, or our social leadership scholarship, which we are proud of, really. The aim is to support young socially committed people who inspire others to do so, to do good things. So far, we have been actively supported by the big company Allianz in particular. Here again is a summary overview of these contact options: individual support, institutional partnerships, and mixed forms. Under the first point, for the scholarships, tuition subsidies, social funds, and, for instance, one-to-one mentoring, professional human mentoring. Partnerships are mostly established directly through the career service, so to speak, my department, or the academic education at the HWM, the area that subframes can use for the personal development measures. Collaborations on research topics run through the president's office and the respective departments, for instance, like psychology. I see the support of student initiatives, among other things, as a mixed form. It can be a collaboration, it can be also an individual support of one student of this initiative. One project we are particularly proud of is the Career Inclusive or Karriere Inklusive project. We launched it in 2016 with the help of a foundation in Mannheim, Stassenstiftung. It is about helping students with disabilities or some kind of impairment, such as trauma, depression, dyslexia, ADHD, to find their way through their studies via a coordinator which supports these students via a network of partners who are more accommodating when it comes to internships, placements, for example. They are more open to take these students on board, and via scholarships that are intended to help in emergency situations. We always have about 20 ongoing mentees and can already tell nice success stories from students who might otherwise have dropped out of their studies and are now successful in their such programs are more difficult to implement at larger universities. With our 500 students, we can provide such individual support. What interests us most is that this project becomes a project with charisma, and that such initiatives also arise in other places. We are really interested in this effect to be a pilot and then to spread it into the world and to help other institutions to get it settled. On the one hand, the term future skills is often mentioned in connection with further training measures for employees, but it's also very important for us in adapting our curricula to the needs of the market. We regularly exchange ideas with representatives of our partner companies about what they want and what they need from our students. On the first point of employer training that I mentioned before, there's even a call from the German Stifterverband that I also mentioned before, this organization for foundations. There's a call for companies and universities to work more closely together here to ensure that the staff in companies has the necessary future skills. So it's really a call to action. Here, there's the possibility of developing customized in-house trainings, for example, or offering open seminars. Certifications and audits by university are also conceivable if companies want to have the quality of their own personal development measures certified. So there's a broad range of possibilities to work together. In all activities at the interface between students and companies, I've been able to make the following experiences in recent years with regard to what students want and what they need. At least in Germany, there's a change in behavior and expectations among generation Y and Z. Topics such as new work and more work-life balance or even the rapid change of jobs are part of this. There's also a growing demand to be involved in exciting projects relatively quickly. So there are a lot of expectations in the beginning, and it's all about to level these expectations. So to reflect these expectations with reality in exchanges with company representatives. That's also my task in the career service, to make the students or to get them down to earth, and here the dialogue is really a benefit, to always talk with each other and yes, be in contact and exchange. You can see a few more photos of successful interaction situations on campus. I can only confirm that I've experienced so far that companies are very open to exchange with universities. And if there is no budget for funding, then other professional levels can be found, which are at least as important for cooperation as well. You simply have to be creative in building bridges. It can also be a discussion round with the students that's very productive. So there is not always the funding, which is the most important thing. It's the exchange of ideas and getting people together and to build synergies. That's really what I deeply believe. I mentioned our new Cross Networking Day earlier. In February of this year, the first event of this kind was held online, and it was a real success with 160 registrations in 20 sessions, always 5 running in parallel. Company representatives, students, and professors discussed topics that came directly from our network as impulses. Examples are, how do I motivate my sales team virtually, or corporate culture change through Corona, or crowdfunding for funding organizations in need, something like this. So really topics, how could we help each other with the experiences we've made. As facilitation teams, we each had a professional moderator and a coach and a student. So the companies were in contact always with students, and we will repeat this concept on the 28th of July. And there will also be a room entirely in English, and you're very welcome to attend if you would like. Just let Mrs. Sanchez and me know when you do so, and we provide you with a link. It's totally free, and you could get an insight in how this is organized. And this one room is really, there are 2 companies talking about interesting projects. There's one professor, Hoffman, you've gotten to know him as well, who's telling about our students going to international conferences to, what they are doing in research. And then there's one student talking about his bachelor thesis about, I think the topic is purpose-driven management. So it would be 4 little insights in our world, and maybe it could be interesting for you. Finally, I would like to summarize what I think university and students want from companies. The projects should bring benefits for both sides, of course. It is important that all parties involved are open about their initial situation, so that a good partnership can develop and a good solution can be found, even if budgets are lacking. Yeah, I'm always telling you about the lacking budgets, but that's reality. I mean, so many startups, they don't even have money to cooperate with us, and we have to be creative to really not to close our doors. It's really we have to get every contact we get to be productive. Yes, so for our students, for our university to develop further, and also for society, it's so important to keep on being in dialogue with the business world. Students want practical insights and for as well, and exciting entry-level projects. And 2 points that are particularly important to me: companies should be sparring partners for customized events. We need their input to develop good formats. There's no use in developing formats that we like. They also have to like them. Yes? And I'm always in dialogue. Really, I'm talking a lot with our partner companies. There's no day without calls and emails with them. And it's also a good chance when organizing events. I noticed that there are always more contacts with the outside world. And for this cross-networking day, for instance, there are maybe 60 calls to everyone, which wouldn't have been existed without organizing these events. It's always important to be creative, to organize something, to organize bridges, to have something to talk about, to be together. So there has to be a dynamic working area. One important point is also that it's increasingly important that the HR manager who looks after the university and who's working with me in the career service has a team of specialist colleagues from the departments in the company relevant to the corporation at his side to support him in his work with universities, because we often need experts who talk about, for instance, systemic management or controlling or marketing. The person I'm collaborating with at the HR department doesn't know anything about it. Same as me. I'm just a door opener. I cannot really provide knowledge to the students. So we both are the door opener, and we need a team of people behind us that is struggling as much as we do to make this cooperation an open dialogue. Yes, I'm convinced of the importance of building these bridges between educational institutions and the business community, and that this can also succeed. And I look forward to exchanging ideas with you, and I'm curious to hear about your experiences. Thank you very much for your attention, especially in this situation, which is really so horrible and hard. I mean, yes, thank you very much for your attention.